Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our August Town Hall. I always enjoy hearing the noise of fellowship. It brings joy to my heart. So thank you all for coming. And I look forward to sharing a lot of information with you today. And as we always do, I'd like to invite Chaplain Lori up to get us started with a word of prayer. And then we will tackle the 84 slides of today.
Let's see if I can add some more hyperbole to that. It's good to be together to celebrate the gift of community. And as I listen, I hear engagement and I feel love. I feel loved by you, that we can all show up together to talk about what's on our minds. So let's pray. We thank you, good God, for all the gifts that you have given to us, especially for each neighbor who surrounds another neighbor and lets them know that there is love in this place. Lord, as we build community here at Menno Haven, I pray that you would help us to be a blessing to those in the broader community around us. Lord, today we come to focus on the things that you're doing right here in our community of Menno Haven, and I just pray a blessing upon our leadership, and I just ask that you would guide and direct us so that we might continue to carry out the mission that's innovative, nurturing, and demonstrating your love, one person at a time. And again, we just thank you for the good gifts, especially for our neighbor. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Lori. Actually, I think I only have 42 slides, so you're welcome. I am going to be wearing multiple hats today. I will be giving you information that's under my area. I will also have the hat of Denise Ingram, our community life officer. Today is Denise's birthday, and I talked to her this morning and wished her a happy birthday. And she is on a vacation to Myrtle Beach, and she said, "I am looking forward to sinking in the sand today." So I hope that she got that accomplished. Also, we'll be giving you some information that typically comes from Roger Bynes, our chief operating officer. Unfortunately, Roger's mother-in-law passed away this week. So him and his wife, Deanna, headed to Kansas for the service. They'll have the viewing today and the funeral tomorrow. So we wish them safe travels. But of course, that's where he needs to be. All right, well, let's get started. Is it moving? Yay. All right. And of course, Billy Torrey is not here either, your director of campus services. I'm glad a couple of us showed up to work today. How about it? Thank you. Yeesh. But we know Billy is out on medical leave. She is doing well. Hopefully she's listening to doctor's orders. But she wanted to just remind you or let you know that on August the 21st, back by popular demand, the Igloo little minibus will be back. That will benefit the Menno Haven Auxiliary. So it will begin at Jenny's Porch from 11 to 1 at our Chambers Point campus, and then come here to this campus from 1:30 to 3:30. And I will not judge you if you go to both. The next thing that I want to let you know is that I'm going to ask Tori Lorenz to come up front. If you have not met Tori, she is the director or was the director of Team Services. Everyone knows that Team Services around here is really our human resources HR department. But Tori was never officially a part of the senior team, which really didn't make sense to me. So as I worked through organizational structures and things of that nature, the weight that Tori has to to bear for our entire organization when it comes to human resources, risk mitigation, and things of that nature. I felt that it did not make sense for her not to be officially a part of the senior team. So would you help me in congratulating Tori as her new role of Vice President of People and Culture? Tori definitely keeps me on the straight and narrow. Her, I think, favorite tagline is, "Tiffany, that's an HR violation." So I work through that. But I really appreciate her voice, her expertise. I actually was with her this morning as we worked with 2 team members, 2 supervisors. And it was just beautiful to watch her bring that voice to the table as we worked through differences of opinions and work through how do we protect Menno Haven, how do we protect our team members. So for that, I'm super grateful and thank you. Thank you. Wanted to let everybody know, I think this came up in the Brookview Cottage Council, about being able to see past episodes of Haven Today. I'm just tickled that somebody watches it. Much less wants to catch up on a missed episode. That brings joy to my heart. But you are able to do that now through the resident portal or on YouTube. It does give me a little anxiety that I'm out there on YouTube, but it is what it is. So past episodes of Haven Today, you'll be able to watch. If you click on that link, it'll bring up all the past episodes on the side. You can binge watch Haven Today to your little heart's content. So I hope that that brings you some joy. I'm struggling with paper here today. All right. The next slide I want to talk to you about is very, very important. Okay, I want your undivided attention. And I want you to hear my voice. We have to be diligent against these scammers. Okay. If you are receiving correspondence in the mail from American Water Resource about protecting the water line where it comes from the ground into your home, throw it away. If you are getting correspondence in the mail from Home Warranty for your appliances, hot water heater, plumbing, throw it away. If you get a call from somebody stating they're the Department of Justice or the FBI and they want to come and secure your gold bars, hang up. Hang up. Okay? It's not true. It's funny when I say it, but it's literally happening in Pennsylvania as we speak. Okay? How many of you watch WGAL News? And you know Brian Roach, right? Well, my friend Brian Roach is coming to visit Menno Haven this week, and he's going to do a segment because the last scam just happened here at Menno Haven. And a resident got in a car, an Uber, and was taken to the bank and removed thousands of dollars. And it's gone. Gone. So please, these scammers are brilliant. They know how to instill urgency. They have an answer for everything. When you say, "You don't sound like my grandson, Bobby," you just gave them your grandson's name. And they're going to say, "Well, my jaw is sore because of the wreck I was just in, and I got busted for driving under the influence, and I hit a pregnant lady. You got to come now." Right? It happens. Okay? When that thing pops up on your computer and it says, "This is Microsoft," do not click on it. When the text message comes and says, "You are going to lose your driver's license, or we're going to suspend your registration from past due parking violations or toll booth violations," delete. Do not answer. My Tony almost fell for that just this week, right? And he blamed me. "Did you pay for that toll when we went through New York? Remember we got," I'm like, "Yes, I paid for it." "Well, they're going to suspend my license." And I'm like, "Give me that. Give me that phone. What is this?" Right? And I'm looking at it and I'm like, "Tone, this is a scam." And he did not believe me until yesterday. It came out on our little news feed, right? That this text message things coming out. It's supposedly from the DMV about parking violations. And I'm like, see, I told you, right? Do not respond, all right? So we are working closely with local police. This did occur. This grandparent scam did occur at our Chambers Point community. So we're working with the borough police as well as the state police. Now, the new piece of information that came along with this situation was that these people are slick, right? So they go on their phone and get on their app and they send an Uber or a Lyft driver to pick you up, right? So that's some plausible deniability. I don't know if the Uber driver's in on it or not. We don't know where the money gets handed off to, okay? But do not get in a car with someone. Do not give out your information. I know it's hard. I don't care how important the person sounds. The IRS is not going to call you. Medicare is not going to call you. Hang up. Here's the thing. The computer system, they are spoofing numbers that look appropriate, right? 717 numbers. I just got one yesterday, 717-860. My daughter's phone number starts like that. My mom's cell phone number starts like that, right? I automatically pick it up. And because I'm professional, how do I answer the phone? Hello, this is Tiffany. Now they have my name, right? And I caught myself because the person on the other end goes, Tiffany? And I went, yes. Don't say yes, right? Because they can record that yes and then use it to approve other things. You have to be diligent. Here is the trick. If you answer the phone and you hear a blip, how many of you have heard that? Blip. Hang up. Hang up. It goes against our polite nature. I get it. Hang up. Sometimes I answer and I'm not quick enough and I hear and the person comes on the line and I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, I'm very sorry. I'm not interested. I'm hanging up now. And I still feel bad doing it, but I do it. Right? Hang up. Okay? You have to be diligent. Right? If you are not sure, if you're getting something in the mail, before you click, call someone. Call your neighbor. Go knock on their door. Look at this, right? Call me. Call somebody, right? Before it backs us into a corner. I got a panic phone call from someone at the Village Square because they clicked on something on their computer and they almost lost $35,000. Okay? Do not give your social security number. Do not agree and say, yes, I bank at F&M. Don't say those words. Okay? You have to be diligent. All right? I know it's hard. And I hate to strike fear into you, but I need you to be afraid and just be aware. Okay? And don't fall for the urgency. All right. Let's talk about this. Now listen to me. When I did this at Chambers Point this morning, and I clicked this next slide, it literally went off. And it took 15 slides to come back on. I almost threw in my hat and said, that's it, I'm going home. So I do want to talk to you about the AV equipment. And I want you to know that I hear how frustrated you are. Trust me, I am even more frustrated than you are. I am so sick and tired of talking about AV equipment around here. I am so frustrated that it seems like every single thing that is touched around here is blowing up when it comes to this equipment. And it is, I could say bad words, but I won't. Okay? It's very frustrating. So we've talked about it before. We do have Pearson, that is a vendor that is coming here in August. You'll recall I spoke to you before about this Crestron system, which is the brains of the operation, right? It is why we do not have our stage lights on right now, because it controls these lights, right? It is controlling the Brookview Chapel. It controls the Chambers Point Chapel. And these brains, for whatever reason, we don't know why, and nobody can tell us yet why they are not properly working. So we are starting at the Brookview Chapel. We are going to reprogram that system. I am not giving the permission for the entire system to be completely overhauled because nobody can tell me how it broke. And if I spend, I'm ashamed to tell you how much money to do all new systems and we walk right back in and break it again, that is just not being good stewards. So we are going to start with the reprogramming of the Brookview Chapel. If it sticks, we will then move to the other systems. But I want to make sure it sticks first before we implement it anyplace else. So please know that is going to occur. Pearson is a vendor that this Crestron system, this is their jam. This is what they do. We have had several other vendors here that have given us quotes that particularly do not work on this system, and it's just very easy for them to say, clean it all out and start over. If that's what we have to do, we'll do it, but I'm not convinced that's what we have to do yet. So I want to try this route first. But please know that it is a tippy top of our priority list. It has got a stranglehold on us. It is significant anxiety for our chaplains. They have no clue on Sunday mornings if things are going to work or not. We have committed our spaces for memorial events. We have rented out this space for things. We have events in here. And I don't like something being on my neck, and this one's on my neck. And so we're going to get it to the bottom line. All right. So stay tuned for that. We will be transparent and keep you informed, but so you know that is the plan, the focus of the Brookview Chapel. Okay. I have some other big news. The other big news is at the end of September, the auxiliary will no longer be at the boutique. And that space will be reimagined. I am working on an idea for that space. I think it's going to be converted into what I'm calling a swag store or a campus store. How many of you been on a university and you go to the campus store? So a space where you can get Menno Haven merchandise and things of that nature, but I do not have that in the bag yet. We do know that there are certain things that are very vital here at the boutique, things like the cards. Everybody gets the cards. I go to get the cards there. And so we need to think about how do we still have access for that. But I wanted to let you know that the auxiliary will be relinquishing that space by the end of September. And we are working on what that space will be in the future. So stay tuned for that. All right, Ryan, I'll have you come up.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see everybody here today. Let me make sure I forward that. Wrong way. Okay. I'm happy to report that our two bond covenants, we are exceeding our minimum that's required. Our debt service coverage ratio is running 1.45, required's 1.2. I believe by the time we finish the year, that's going to be around 1.55, 1.6. And then our days cash on hand is at 315. Required is 150 days, so more than double what is needed for that bond covenant. Looking forwards. Yep, that's the right one. We can see that operating revenues at $32.5 million. It's favorable to budget by about $650,000. Total operating expenses is running at $36.8. Now that is unfavorable to budget by about $500,000. If we look at our non-operating revenue, we're at $3.2 million, which is favorable to budget, $3.1 million. The market has definitely come back for that. If we look at our unrealized gains, we got about $1.8 million and realized gains of a little over $500,000. We continue to monitor the markets, especially with the tariffs and the big, beautiful tax bill that was signed here not too long ago. But if we looked at the markets where they ended in December to where they're at now, the Dow's up like 3.6% and the NASDAQ and the S&P's up 5.5%. So overall, our net assets decreased 1.1 million, which is favorable to the budget by 3.2 million. And again, a lot of that is driven by that non-operating section of the financials. So, thanks.
So with all those words, Ryan, are we doing okay or not?
We're doing great.
We're doing great. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go through Roger's piece here now. So I'm going to show you some pictures of the Brookview Healthcare Center flooding event. You can see where the water was out on the in the courtyard here. Oh, now I probably broke it. Here's some more. Look at that beautiful sheen. That's water. It's not glowing carpet. That is all water. I told the group earlier that, is there a laser on this thing? Does anybody know? I'm afraid. Over here between the two doors, that's a snow rake. You know what that is? So you buy those, it's like a rubber thing, and you shove the snow off of your car with it. Best thing in the world to shovel water. So we were started over at the windows of all the rooms and just kept pushing the water out and pushed the water right down the shower drain. And that little snow rake was perfect for that. So we put those to good use. Just want to call out the amazing team. We had tons of people show up, tons of people who were getting off work but did not leave. Our grounds and maintenance department, everyone rallied and got there. The nursing team, very quickly, we had a picnic dinner in the gathering place to get everybody out of the households as the water came in. And just to watch everyone really come together was amazing. People were calm, cool, and collected. Everybody was jumping in. So it was a great moment for the team to shine under difficult circumstances. Here's our rock star. This is Patricia Byerly. She's the director of nursing. The administrator, Roz Burke, was actually on vacation in Minnesota. And let me tell you, her blood pressure went through the roof. Right? She's a 2-day drive away. And I was like, well, forget it. We'll have this done, taken care of by the time you get back to town. But Patricia just really rose to the occasion, really provided support to the team. And we've been calling out her exceptional leadership during this time. And she is the resident rock star. I also want to call out our friend Brian Garber back here. Brian, who is now tasked with the fix, right? And so, his other duties as assigned has definitely had a full plate. So Brian, from me personally, thank you for all that you're doing. And thank you for, he did tell me that night he was turning in his retirement, and I said, I will not accept. But I was counting the days and the years in my head at the same time, honestly. And this is Brian and I's second time around with a little flooding event. Several years ago, we had a flooding event in the Renaissance. So we were like, meh, we've been through this before. No big deal. It is a big deal, but at least we had some experience. So here you're going to see some of the mitigation that is occurring. Of course, all the flooring that got wet needs to come up. Cuts in the drywall to go so far up to access to assure that there's not any moisture inside there. You can see more and more this plastic tubing that is hung from the ceilings is piping in. If you've been down around the Brookview Healthcare Center, you'll see the big generators and the big machines. Those are like Superman dehumidifiers. So they are dehumidifying the space, controlling the moisture, and also pumping in heated air to help with drying. So it feels like 102 in there. I was in there the other day. We were picking out carpet and flooring, and it was hot. It was hot. But it's doing its job. So just to remind everyone, there were 36 residents that were displaced, moved to other areas at Menno Haven, but nobody had to leave Menno Haven. Everybody stayed. What did have to occur is that we immediately that day informed the hospital that we would not be taking external admissions to our rehab. Because we know that the rehab, the beds open up there pretty quickly. So we, for about, I think, 10 days, maybe 7 to 10 days, maybe not even that long, we said no admissions to the rehab. Of course, our census was full. I think we had 42 folks at the rehab. We only have 44 beds. I think we had 1 bed at Chambers Point, right? So there's 3. Where's everybody going? We also had a short window of time from the mitigation crew to get everyone out so they could start the work. So that did mean that we had about 13 people move to the village square. We had several move to the manor. So that is nursing center residents residing in personal care. And so the team members that were in those households got deployed. They got deployed to the village square. They got deployed to the manor. They got deployed to the Chambers Point Healthcare Center. So everyone is still busy working, but it's also great comfort for those residents that did have to move someplace else to see a familiar face. Right? Not only am I moving into a new spot, I have to learn a whole new team. Right? So to have the team members that were on my household there with me in my new spot has been very comforting. And I just really appreciate the staff and everyone really just being flexible, learning where everything is. We are on the next phase. So pretty much all of the demo and mitigation is almost wrapped up. And now we're this week switching to the fix. Right? And getting it back in shape, which is good. Yes, sir. Right. So who's doing the mitigation? So the ServPro, who is the folks that had the big trailers and the big green trucks, this is their equipment doing the actual, we don't say the M word, but the microbial infiltration control. That's who has the equipment here, but who is doing the fix is actually ECI, because ECI are the ones that built the building. So instead of having, ServPro could have brought in other contractors and other vendors to put the building back together, but we wanted to use our trusted partner and the folks that know the building the best to get the building back in tip-top shape. Yes. So that question came up earlier today as well. How much is this going to cost? How much business have we lost? Because, we did have to stop taking some admissions in certain areas. And I don't have those numbers yet. We do have flood insurance. We do have business continuity insurance. We do have a $50,000 deductible. So we already know, we're definitely $50,000 out, but we do have hefty insurance that is hopefully going to step up and help cover. Again, our goal, I keep preaching to everybody, all the contractors, don't talk to me in months, talk to me in weeks. I will not accept months out. You talk to me in weeks. I won't be unrealistic and say days, but don't even say months. Again, Brian's really pushing on them, staying on top, and making sure that things are done efficiently. Okay. Somebody did ask about the stretcher van. Luckily, the van was not needed during the moves. Everyone was able to be comfortably transported in a wheelchair or a normal seated thing in one of our Menno Haven buses, or if those were headed to the village square, got a nice tram ride with some fresh air. But we did use the stretcher van to help with the moving boxes, and it was very helpful. because that's a nice long van. We took the stretcher out and could fill it. So as we were moving folks and packing up all their boxes, the stretcher van was used. I did want to remind everyone, though, that the van has been used by our community nurses, and it's actually been used for several of our independent living residents who were on hospice. And needed to be transported into a care setting. So we know in a hospice and in someone's final days, being transferred into a wheelchair is not always that simple. So this stretcher van has come into very good use to help in that situation. So future prevention, I've been telling everyone I will no longer accept the phrase 100-year flood. It's lies. I don't know if it's global warming. I don't know what it is, but I will not accept that phrase anymore because somebody told me that 5 years ago. 5 years ago, not 100. So we are engaging in some civil engineers. I need someone to tell me, I think, in my opinion, when the Brookview Healthcare Center was built and planned. I know there's lots of approvals from the, the Army Corps of Engineers. I know we did all of that. And I think that the focus was on if the banks of the Conococheague overflow, right? And water comes this way, right? Well, okay, well, the water didn't come this way. When this happened, it came this way. And so, I'm hearing that we have ample drainage, but I want someone to say to me, our drainage can handle 4 inches of water in 45 minutes. That's what it is built to. During this event, we had 5 inches of water in 20 minutes, right? So, it's a volume thing. I also want that core group to look at now how the water is coming off of Scotland Road. And is it possible, don't tell me it's impossible, because I want to know, even if it is impossible, just in case, what happens if the water comes this way? Right? I know what happens if it comes this way, and now we know what happens if it comes this way. Right? 360 degrees, I want to know. And to try to figure out our whole entire water storm drainage system here. Across the street at the dermatologist office, they got water in their basement. That's right across from Brian and M's office, the business office, the operations center. And if you look behind the townhomes there is a swell and a dry pond kind of thing. But they got water, right? And he called the borough and said, hey, what are you going to do about it? And they're like, nothing. The Brookview Healthcare Center and this campus, it's messy, right? Because some of us is in the borough, some of us is in Green Township. Water running off of Scotland Road, that's a state road, right? There's another whole entity that needs to be involved. So it is complex. But we are not giving up, and we want to get some answers. The other area that has been heavily impacted by the water runoff is the villas at 1466 to 1470. So I'm not sure if everybody is aware of that, that the flooding waters came into that villa as well, has gone into those villas in the past. Again, coming off of that Scotland Road and coming down the swell, how can we control that? All right, so this is an event that it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and we need to stay on top of it and get some answers. And I know I cannot prevent every act of God, but I would like to try to prevent some. Okay. All right. For us that live in Green Township, I just wanted to do a quick update about the ambulance service. You all should have known by now or received information that the ambulance service through WellSpan that was supposed to stop here in the summer is going to continue through the end of the year. It is my understanding that Green Township has now contracted with Fayetteville Ambulance Service, and they will be taking over at the beginning of 2026. All right. It is also my understanding that they have purchased this building. This building is right across from Green Village Diner. Okay. I think they were like some aquatic something. I don't know what they did there. And aren't you so distracted about the tape on this guy's truck? This was from Google Maps, and I'm so distracted by the tape on this guy's truck. But I wanted to show you the picture so you knew what building I was talking about. But that is my understanding, that this will be a hub for the ambulance service. The Green Township goal is that where this hub is located, within that corridor, they should be able to get anywhere within 5 minutes. So that's pretty good, pretty good. So I am hopeful that that will happen, and we should be getting some information about that, I would say September, October. Usually that comes out like 3 months before the subscription is to start. Franklin Square Commons townhouses, 2 of the 3 units are occupied. We are working through 1 unit that has some offers out. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to pull the trigger on it. And then we have line of sight to purchase 1 or 2 more. We don't have dates for those yet, but those we have at least 1 or 2 people that have already reached out and said, hey, we're interested in you guys coming and taking a look. So just wanted to keep you up to date with that. Scotland Road, if you drive by the house out front, working on some finishing touches, drywall, painting. They are on track for an anticipated fall move-in, and then we'll be planning the other 2 open lots out front as well. Here's some new faces and new places. Casey Helm, she was brought on as our sales and marketing team lead as I pal more and more on to Denise Ingram, your community life officer. I do need her to sort of back away a little bit from the sales and marketing team. This group still reports to her, but I'm asking her to get out of the weeds a little bit there. So she brought on Casey Helm. And she has hit the ground running, even though she did have a pre-planned vacation this week. See, nobody showed up to work this week. Electa Rideout, most of you have probably already met Electa. She was the front desk up here at the Life Center and is now at Northgate. I love seeing her there when I walk into Northgate. Ah, she's fantastic. And Alika Benjamin Elliott, who was actually back the hall, a part of the team services group, has come out to the front desk. So she is there now too. And I really feel like this has given her some joy. She seems to be a lot happier with this role. I think she enjoys seeing all of you coming in. Honestly, she talks more than I've ever heard her talk back the hallway. So I appreciate you all lighting that fire with her. She seems to be really loving her job now, which is the goal here at Menno Haven. All right. So these, and I'm going to read these because these are Denise's, and I want to make sure I don't say wrong things. So I know Denise has talked to you all before. She's had focus groups, reimagining the leisure coordinator department. The big focus is maintaining and increasing resident participation, allowing the leisure coordinators to have some work-life balance. I have been preaching about quality, not quantity. I don't think we need to have 85 events happening in 1 week and nobody wants to go to 2 of them or 3, half of them. I would rather we have really good quality things happening here that you all look forward to being a part of. One of the key words that you're going to see in these slides is providing opportunities for on-campus organic life. Somebody earlier said to me, what does that mean? Organic food's going to be there? I'm like, no, that's not what it means. And then it was great because he raised his hand later to say, hey, I want to let everybody know that the horseshoe pits are back open at Chambers Point, and I'm usually out there every night at 7 o'clock. And I'm like, boom, organic life, right? Things that we're doing. Ann Dortch, I saw you yesterday evening, and you were like, hey, I want to let you know the wine club's meeting in the gazebo right now. First of all, I hope that was amazing. If I could have went out there, I would have, but I had to get home quick and then get to a meeting. But organic life, things that are happening naturally that are not necessarily opened up, started by the leisure coordinators. You all have interests and groups that get together and clubs and things that you do that naturally occur that's not the leisure coordinator standing in front of you entertaining you. Okay, that's organic life. I want it to continue to grow here. So focus groups. focus groups, the three, again, three different areas that they were discussing were group opportunities, organic opportunities, and independent opportunities. Again, this is those independent opportunities are things that we can put in front of you to make sure that you know that they're happening, but they're not necessarily driven by Menno Haven. Okay, so just other opportunities for you. Some of us here in the room participated in a trivia focus group. We know that trivia is a big deal around here. We have a variety of different opportunities for trivia, and we are going to be kicking off this Deaf Row trivia. It's going to start Tuesday, September the 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Life Center at the Break Hub. I participated in one night of them being here. I had a great time. I think we couldn't remember if we came in third place. Were we in third place? Okay, that's good. Middle of the row. We didn't win, but we weren't in last either. But it was a lot of fun. We usually show up we're going to sit with the people that we know, and we drew cards. So we got with, a different group of folks that we weren't expecting, which was a lot of fun. And it was really great to watch the dynamics of the group. So if you love trivia, come on out September 16th. I think you'll have a good time. I had a good time. I hope everybody has on their calendar the Cardboard Boat Regatta on August the 29th. The rain date is September the 5th. We have the boat regatta on Reflection Lake at Chambers Point. How many of you here in this room have been to the cardboard boat race? Yes. Woo! If you have not raised your hand, trust me, you want to go. It's awesome. I know you hear me say that all the time, but I mean it this time. Best day ever. We'll be doing our famous Menno Haven hot dogs, ice cream. It is just a blessed day. It is literally one of my favorite days here at Menno Haven. I know that we have people working on boats. I threatened all the team that I will make them get in inflatable rafts if nobody makes boats. So people are hurrying up and making boats because I put Tori in an inflatable raft one year and I needed to be rescued. It was embarrassing. There is a video. There is. So cardboard boat race regatta, August the 29th. Rain date will be the following Friday the 5th, September 5th. This is Friday, August the 29th. We're going to start at 12:30. We'll do a parade, and then the boats get in the water, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful time. The other thing that you should save the date for is Friday, October the 17th at 1:30. We're having the Wacky Fashion Show, and this is a coordinated effort with the activities departments in several of our areas here, wanting to throw together this Wacky Fashion Show. You can put it together as a group or you can come individually. I can't wait to see Charles's outfit. I'm sure it is going to be amazing. The last thing, and I forgot to announce it this morning, somebody tell me, when is the Menno Haven Has Talent? It's a Monday night. Is that when it is? The 29th of September? Let me tell you exactly when it is. The 29th of September. Boom. Gold star. 6 o'clock right here in this room. This happens every year. I scream and yell at you, and then you sign up. Okay, we have 6 acts so far. I got to do some screaming and yelling because you know what happens if we don't have enough of people show up. You have to listen to me, so sign up. I have been recruiting team members. I had a young gentleman that works in the Village Square culinary area in NEO, new employee orientation, the other week, and he was talking about his guitars, and I'm like, I'm coming for you. You have to sign up for Menno Haven Has Talent. And he just kind of looked at me and I'm like, you'll love it. Trust me. It'll be great. He has no clue what he's getting into. But we are going to be rallying the team. I got to talk to Ryan. I got to make sure Martin, our accountant upstairs, signs up. He was in last year. And make sure that we put on a good show. My other favorite day at Menno Haven is Menno Haven Has Talent. So we will pack this room out, get here early. It's at 6 o'clock, get some dinner at the grill, and then stay for the show. Speaking of the show, Chuck, you're up.
voice, the bottom or the top?
I think it's the bottom.
Okay, we'll see. Good afternoon. You know, there's a lot going on, and but you know, we've got some challenges, but we'll do them. We'll accomplish them, and we'll be a better organization for it. I can tell you that, with everyone pulling together. Now, they put me last because usually my news is good news, and I think it is. So here we go. These are our major goals here. The Benevolent Fund, you all know about it. You're told about it when you come in. We support a number of residents who have depleted their resources. Last year, we spent about $750,000, and we're at $298 now. And at this point in the year, that's good. We have an estate coming in will take us up, but most of you make your contributions from October on. So I'm sure we'll make it. But you know, we also give almost $5 million in charitable care that comes out of operations. So we are very responsible community citizens here. I don't think everybody knows that, but anyway. The MAHEEF Fund, the Menno Employee Appreciation Fund, you know, this is the first year, it's tax deductible. We've raised $49,400, which at this time of year is pretty good. Last year we raised $197,000, and you can make a contribution up to Thanksgiving. Then we have to cut it off and cut the checks. That's right. And whatever's left goes over in the next year. The Menno Care Fund, that's something that we run, management, and pay electric bills for a team member, or maybe a car payment. But and the money comes from a number of different sources. Hope House, we raised that money. It was a great challenge we did. $245,000. The team members are in. They love it, and we're proud of what we did. And all other funds, which I'm going to tell you about, we raised $342,000. And let me tell you about those. Allie printed these out because I can hardly see the screen there. I need to get a longer neck. But, okay, wrong way. Okay, here we go. If you haven't been over to get your hair done at the Chambers Point Beauty Salon, it looks beautiful. They completely gutted it, and it is very bright, new equipment, new chairs, and the resident at Chambers Point that funded this also has about 5,000 of records, big records, and you know, what really makes them valuable are the covers. And Allie and he went through them and picked out a number of covers, and they framed them. Looks beautiful over there. So if you get a chance, go over, look at that, and get your hair done. Hope House Project, I talked about that. Reflection Lake over at Chambers Point. We ripped that old dock off before someone fell in. And we also had some Penn Hall School alumni that bought 2 benches in memory of some of their classmates. Branch Creek, the sign you couldn't even read, and we're trying to raise some funds over there, get community awareness, and we had built a beautiful sign there. And signs, I'm telling you, aren't cheap. The culinary carts, I'm sure many of you have had your dinner served by them. We have one here and one at Chambers Point. And that was quite an accomplishment. And then we retrofitted them, built the boxes on the back, and they've really been great. The Tech Ops van started last month. We got the money real quick. And they have that van, they're tickled pink. We're getting it wrapped, and they're buying some equipment to go inside. And as you can see, this sound project and visual aid is just one of 100 that they have to do. So this will help get them to get the equipment around. Talked about the dock, the sign, the leader gazebo, which is on the north side of Chambers Point. We did a retrofit there with that, bought all new tables. They use that a lot for socials, and I'm sure they're going to be using it a lot more now. And Village Park, landscaping down here, back of the pavilion where the lake is. We had a resident totally pay to re-landscape that because it was getting in pretty bad shape. Okay, we have been awarded certification, and I skipped a slide, but anyway, as a a certified butterfly garden. And that's quite complimentary. The Greenhouse Committee's done a great job. We're going to have lots of butterflies down there. We're growing the plants. I think milkweed is one of them. Well, they're sending us an official plaque, and I think even people off of Menno will be coming to see it. So first you see, because I remember my wife was a first grade teacher, and we'd always get caterpillars, and I'd build a cage, and then caterpillars turn into butterfly. So you can come see the caterpillars and then go see the butterflies. I lost the thing it turns here. No, it's smaller than ones we usually use. Here are some of the things that are funded. We're working on, the dog park gazebo. We raised $22,000. It's been done about 6 weeks, and just waiting for grounds and maintenance, running electricity. They got to dig a ditch, put the rocks in, and they've been kind of busy. I know every time I call, we've had a lot of projects. They answer the phone, but I don't know why. But we should have that in the 18th, I think, and then we'll have a celebration. The patio, as you go outside, if you haven't sat in the chairs, they have turned out really, really nice. We've had so many compliments. And we have met with a group from Baltimore called Shore Industries, and they came out here and they had a drone, and they have computer programs to look at how we can give some shade to the patio out there, because the chairs do get kind of hot. And Thursday morning they're going to give us a idea of what their design is and the cost. It's not going to be cheap, but they're going to be those, like they're in a triangle, and they'll be probably different colors. It's really going to look nice, but you can go out there and you'll be cool. The Chambers Point pool, I have a resident at Chambers Point that was concerned, and a right to be concerned, that when residents with walkers, with wheelchairs, there weren't automatic doors. And so she said, I'll pay for them. Of course, I didn't realize there's 7 doors there, but we're going to get those. She's going to write the check for those, and they're not cheap, about $35,000, and we're putting 2 card entries on there to make sure it's secure, especially at night. Nativity scenes. I had a resident come in April and said, we got to do something about that. We have one here and one at Chambers Point because one of the shepherds, I think, got stolen over there, and one of them lost their head, so it's probably about time. But when they were talking to me in April, I said, well, let's wait till October. I can't even think about it. Then a couple more residents came, so we're working on that. And Chambers Point, I talked about the leader gazebo with the new furniture. We just got that up Friday. Okay. Wrong way again. I'm almost done, so hang in there. We have the plastic bag campaign, and once we get 1,000 pounds, they'll make a nice bench out of it, and it's good for the environment. And believe it or not, I asked John Lintenswab this morning, we have 235 pounds already. Can you imagine? 205, sorry. I got ahead of it, but... Okay. There you go. We'll make it by the end of the day. But it's because you know how many bags that would take to make? We got to get 1,000 pounds, but we'll get them, and we're ahead of schedule, right, John? That's what you told me this morning. Okay, but I think it's a great thing to do. It keeps our community. Charlie. John.
There is a container right here in the Life Center underneath the stairs when you get off the elevator. There is a container near the mail area at Northgate, and there is a container in the lobby area at the Renaissance building.
The container at Northgate is down the hallway after the entrance to the pool.
By the pool, by the entrance of the pool, past the mailboxes. In that long hallway.
So it's a great way to get rid of bags, and we get a bench to sit on then. Okay, the chaplains, they just are so good. And Lori on Monday morning sends me a recap of the weekends because they're pretty busy on the weekends. And this Monday, it was a little rough because they had troubles with the sound system and the visual. And I can feel, I don't have to know, but I can feel the frustrations. And they have been troopers. But we're going to get it fixed. We're doing our best, and sometimes as hard as you try, it takes time. So hang in there. Maybe you could pray for it too. That would help. Okay, the scholarship. We have a scholarship fund that it was for Chambers Point. But the family, since the one here ran out of funds for Brookview, they agreed we could do both campuses. And we had, I think, 2 applicants, and the winner this year is Marilee Pelze, is there, or whatever it is. You can see it up there. I asked everybody this morning, no one could pronounce it. But she is a team member at the Memory House. And I'd also like to remind you that if you got a dog, you can come fill out the applications. We need those to make sure that they have their rabies shots. And anybody's invited. You don't have to have a dog. The dogs are friendly, and as far as I know, nobody's gotten bitten. So please come, and Dr. Baker holds a party every nice day at 4 o'clock. So, and it's pretty wow, so please come. That's it. It's up to your questions and comments.
I think Lynette has the microphone to bring around for your comments, questions, concerns, and demands.
What is the status on the PERS devices? They were down yesterday, I believe. Are they back up?
Yes. So that your communication should have stated that they were just down as we did an upgrade. The upgrade was completed and everything was back up and running. I think we gave it a lot longer window than what it really needed. I bet your communication said probably till about 8 o'clock. I think it was up and running by like 2. But just in case if we ran into any hiccups, we wanted to make the window very large, but the upgrade did go through without any hiccups, so things were back up and running in the afternoon.
Tiffany,
Yes,
thank you, right here.
I see you. There you are. I hear you, Amin.
Thank you for explaining about the healthcare center and
Sure.
about the business continuity insurance. But I am curious, when you look at the lost revenue over the period of time that it'll take to get things up and running, what percentage of lost revenue does that insurance cover?
Yeah,
Is
I
it
have-
at 100%
I have
or
no clue yet.
75?
So we know that going in to fight with the insurance about the business continuity, we have to have all of our ducks in a row. So that's why I'm very pleased that our finance department, they are doing all their checks and balances, doing the analytics for that. I don't have that percent yet, but probably at our next town hall, we'll be very transparent and put it all up there of how this situation has impacted us financially. It is very frustrating. I know my friend Ryan was ready. One of our board members said a CFO never toots their horn. And he was not, I wouldn't say happy, but he was pleased with how our numbers were looking for the first 6 months of the year. And this is a very unfortunate hiccup, but we will overcome. But we'll be very upfront about what those numbers are in the future once we get them all together.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Margaret?
Thank you. Is all of Menno Haven covered by the flood insurance, or was just the healthcare facility covered?
I have no clue. I don't know. I can't tell you every policy, how that full coverage is. I know that we have flood insurance. So I don't want to quote without pulling out those specific policies and
Okay.
telling you what every single inch is covered.
And will the flood insurance provide financing for preventive work we're going to do to prevent future floods?
Probably not.
Wow, can I sing too? No.
Sure.
Well, this is no talent, no. This is a what if. What if you had all the money that you could ever want? What would you like to see done here in the next 5 or 10 years?
I feel like this is Miss America, right? I'd like to solve world peace. No. Well, gosh, Barry, that is a loaded question. The question was, if we had all the money in the world, what would I like to see done in the next 5 to 10 years? Right now, all I can focus on is bringing the Brookview Healthcare Center out of a ditch. I think for me, the strategy would be about using, if we had all the money in the world, securing my concern about our Medicaid funding, and how we can secure in our coffers that we can have enough nursing beds to promise to take care of everyone that has come into the continuum, which we do, but we still weigh heavily, like 50% of our nursing beds are external admissions. And that pool of people who can afford to come in day one into our healthcare settings, in my opinion, is going to continue to shrink and shrink. So for me, it's a part of our mission is to, provide that service and care, right? And live out our Christian values. But from a business standpoint, it cannot be an open door that we accept everybody with Medicaid. So for me, all the money in the world, I would want to secure that we definitely can continue, as we're continuing now, provide exceptional care to everyone that's in the continuum, which we will. But to make sure that our coffers can also take care of maybe more folks that couldn't afford to come here to Menno Haven in the continuum, but that not get paid on the backs of the people that have bought in. So that weighs heavily on my mind. And of course, right, I'm never satisfied, right? So there's tons of little projects. If I had all the money in the world, Brian would definitely put in his retirement notice. Because there's lots of things that drive me crazy, or things that I want to bring up to a little bit more of a modern par. But things that keep me awake at night is strategically, how do we take care of everyone, but also thinking about emergency preparedness. I want a generator for this building. I want resources that if a flood would ever occur again, that we're not scrambling to have equipment, right? In my mind, I want a space in the service building out here that has equipment that we never touch unless it's an emergency. right? That we are not deploying team members to go find things. This is the emergency stash of X, Y, and Z. I don't want $2 million worth of equipment there, but I want enough equipment there that we're not relying on everybody else. Okay? Other things on your mind? Would you vote for me for Miss America? Charles?
I think I heard something about a dog park party at 4 o'clock. What day of the week is that?
Every day.
Every day?
Every
Oh.
day.
Every day at 4
Yep.
o'clock.
Come pet the dogs. Every day. Oh, there you are.
You briefly mentioned that Brian Roche from WGAL TV is coming this week. So what I'm wondering is, are you planning a public meeting, or is this just an information for the staff?
No, we're going to be on the news. He is doing a segment about this kind of scam. So he is interviewing the person that was scammed. I have a little bit of feelings about that, but the family member of the person that was scammed has been very tenacious of reaching out to WGAL. I played phone tag with him for like a week because I was afraid that he's going to stand in front of Menno Haven and said, Menno Haven has no response. And, well, you know, I just didn't want him to say that we didn't care, which is far from the truth. So I stalked him down because I wanted him to get a statement from me. And he said, we're coming. And I'm like, oh, crud. Oh, I'm very upset that I missed my last haircut appointment. But it is what it is. So I wanted to make sure that he heard truly how we feel here at Menno Haven, that he is going to run one of his segments about that and interview the person that was scammed. I'm having a little feelings about that. I can't, the intent of the daughter is pure. Her parents were taken advantage of, and she wants to spread that word and get the word out to everyone. So, yes, that's why he's coming. Okay, hold tight, Doc.
Is that on? Yeah.
Yep.
I just want to say it's really a good thing that they put that new sign on the senior center in Shippensburg, and that's a great ministry. The efforts that we do there from Menno Haven. I practiced medicine for 40 years in Shippensburg, and I used to go to see a lot of the women that worked, single women that worked in the textile factories for years, had very, very limited resources. And so when they retired, they sat in their little apartments and watched their TV set, and that's all they did. That's all they could afford to do. Now, we pick up our Meals on Wheels there every month, and we get a chance to see what's going on. And those people now are in there, they're dancing, they're doing artwork, they're making Easter eggs that you see around here that they sell, but they do all these things, and their life is so much better. So that's a tremendous ministry that Menno Haven's helping with. So we should keep that up.
I agree. And you know, Branch Creek Place is just not a place to go for fun. There is a lot of educational and resources that occur there. The Shippensburg Community Nurse comes there on a routine basis. They are doing a huge suicide prevention campaign right now. And we know that suicide in older adults, especially those that are alone and have no, community, is very high. And so it is a powerful place. It's very near and dear to my heart.
Is the boutique closing completely? Is that what you're saying? Are they still going to have the store up by at Village Square? And the walls and all that stuff? Okay. Thank you.
Yes, it's my understanding from the auxiliary that everything else is going to remain open. The treasure chest, of course, the gift walls at the Brookview Healthcare Center and the rehab, the Village Store, the Point, which is located at Chambers Point. It is in, I almost said the basement, and thank God Denise isn't here, the garden level. Oh, these marketing people. The garden level of the manor will be moving upstairs to the first floor. So when you go in the main door of the manor, you'll come into the lobby, second door on the left. So it will be in a lot higher traffic area, and I think will be a lot more successful and becoming. Other things. Who has the microphone?
I
Hi,
have.
Rachel.
I think everybody should feel good about this. My husband was reading Kiplinger's magazine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This morning, and they had a thing about continuing care facilities, one outside of Chicago, where the monthly payments for a studio apartment were $11,000. A 2-bedroom cottage, whatever, $27,000 a month.
They better have gold faucets and zhoosh. Yeah. A lot of my team, my leadership team, and myself, we go to a lot of different industry things. Ryan and I are going to be headed to a conference that is hosted by Ziegler, and Ziegler is the folks that get us our bonds and our financiers and things for our business. And their big push is that if we do not manage our funds properly, we get in trouble. Right? And you are probably seeing in your news feeds all the time, this little nursing home that's closing its doors and this assisted living that's doing this. And the fear of, I think it was the Washington Post ran a story about a high-rise community in New York that somebody paid $1 million to move into, and they went bankrupt and sold out. And now they're out this money. I mean, there's all of these stories out there. That's why you're never going to be surprised by me when it comes to what's happening around here. I'm going to tell you, right? I'm going to tell you when we're pulling it tight. I'm going to tell you when things are not going well. I'm going to say to Ryan when he's rattling off numbers, are we good or are we not good? Right? Where are we at? Because, it's important. It is your investment. Retirement communities like ours can be a very, very good investment. But we want to make sure that we are taking care of the monies that you have given us to invest and putting it back into our properties and assuring you that you are going to have exceptional care. I got a notification the other day that and I haven't watched it yet. I'm finishing up another documentary series, and then I'm switching gears. But there is a documentary on Amazon Prime, on your Prime channel, and it's called No Country for Old People, and I have it in my queue. And it's a filmmaker whose mother, I believe, is in her 90s, late 80s, 90s, and was in a nursing home in California, I think Los Angeles. And it goes through and documents the perils of that. And so I'm looking forward to watching that. This notification that came out to me was, sort of like, hey, this really shines a very bad light on our business. And it's frustrating because a few bad eggs can ruin the whole salad, right? And so a few bad eggs is why we have such horrendous regulations. Okay. And if I can just be very transparent, we had the state walk in this week to one of our nursing areas, and they're very much probably going to cite us on an act of a team member. And we did everything up front. We reported what went down. And completely said, this is what we did. We educated. We ended up terminating that team member, which was a very hard thing to do. But that team member could not get with the program, and somebody got hurt. And that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. The frustrating part is that we are still going to be cited by the state, even though we did everything right. And how do you control a rogue team member? And how are we supposed to know that the team member was going to make a bad choice? And the staff that were meeting with the inspector said, you know, you're sort of encouraging us not to report. Right? We could have got away with this and you would have never known. But because we live by our mission here and we're built on integrity, we are reporting, and you are putting a black mark on us that makes us look worse than the worst nursing home in our area, who we know would not report. And the frustrating part was that the surveyor went, but I'm very proud that we do the right thing no matter what. Okay? No matter what. Don?
You should knock on the door of Rob Kaufman to come and see if he can ameliorate that.
He can't. He can't.
What?
He can't.
He tried?
Yes.
Oh my.
Yes, he can't.
You're a deep chemistry.
We have more regulations than some nuclear plants. That's no joke. No joke.
I've heard some rumors about entrance fees for some of the villas, and I'm wondering how transparent is that, and where can we find out whether the rumors are true or not true? The rumor is $500,000 for one that's on Arbor Ridge, I think it is, and then $700,000 for Scotland Road.
So we just recently did a case study, and remind me to go back and talk about some industry things. A case study on one of the villas that just opened up here on our campus. And we talked about what that entrance fee, we talked about this to our board, okay? What the entrance fee was for that villa when the original person moved in. Do you remember what it was? Does anybody remember? Remember what it was? Like $140,000, about 140 grand. But I think it depends on square footage and upgrades and all that stuff. So I think the base was around there. At the second flip, I think it went up to 2 something. I can't remember the number. Now it's probably sitting about 439, right? But if we think about the house prices and the housing market, which is what we base those on, as well as the square footage, the larger the square footage, the higher the entrance fee. Based on what type of upgrades, how many additions, all of those types of things is what goes up and up and up. So I can't tell you that there is a flat, this is what a villa is going to be, because there's a lot of things that go into it and what was done to it. Same occurs at Northgate in the apartments. The same occurs in our cottages, addition, no addition, walls removed, anything of that nature. And yes, out front, they have the most highest entrance fee. For sure. I don't know what that number is, but it's probably close to what you're saying. Scotland Road. They are the largest square footage. Right? Susan?
And the other thing is the information available to us what the monthly fees are as you need to move up through care levels?
The question is the fees available to you? Yes. The rates, if you go into any sort of care, again, we're very transparent. Just like you get a rate sheet of what your monthly service rate is there, and when you are in care, it's a daily rate. Right? So if Lynette and I move into the Village Square tomorrow, and if Lynette is moving in maybe because she's starting to have a little bit of memory loss, right? And she forgets to take her meds, right? And her and I are moving in the same day, but I'm a diabetic and I need to get 4 shots a day. I also have mobility issues and I can't walk to the dining room. I also can't get myself dressed. Lynette just needs to be reminded to put her pants on the right way, right? That's it. Her and I should not be charged the same daily rate if I need a lot more hands-on care. So in personal care, you're going to have 4 different levels at a different rate. The more hands-on care you need, the higher the daily rate is going to be. Okay? And then in the skilled areas, that's a flat daily rate. Head up to marketing and they'll print it right out to you. Yep. Vera? Yes. Yeah. I'll repeat it. Yeah. 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 Right. What Vera's talking about is remembering the rate of inflation when it comes to cost. And we all have seen that, right? And my very visual, easy example is what I used to pay for 4 full bags of groceries from the butcher shop is now 2. Right? Tony's favorite deviled eggs, I can't make those, that completely grosses me out, were $1.99 for a little 4-pack, right? 2 eggs cut in half, deviled, are now $4.19 at the butcher shop. All right? I will tell you, in our industry, right? Remember the Zigglers of the world and the industry folks? They are on communities like us, because a lot of communities have not raised their entrance fees or their monthly service fees to keep up with inflation, and they're in trouble, right? So we have stayed with the housing market. We have stayed with that, and that is why it has been such a significant jump from 150K in 2000 to 400 and some in 2025. That's why. Kathy?
When you set the budget last year, what was it, around November, December, where you put it to bed, we had no idea, and you had no idea about tariffs and the impact it was going to have on food, on your appliances, and all the other things. How has that impacted what you settled back in the fall or winter as it is today, impacting?
Ryan, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're still pretty much good on our budget, except with some food costs. So some food costs we've seen that really impact. Coffee. I'm going to just tell you, I just had a conversation with how much coffee do we give away around here, right? A lot. We are changing coffee providers. We give away a lot of free coffee. And maybe I'll show you next time how much that costs Menno Haven. Okay? To answer some of that question about how the tariffs are impacting us, we had budgeted to replace, does everybody remember when I say a rationale oven? Right? That's our fancy ovens that we use around here, and they're all computer and they self-clean and they can practically walk on their own. Commercial-wise, right? In our kitchens. We had budgeted to replace those in the 4th quarter. We knew after June something that the price was going to skyrocket, and significantly because of a tariff, we got 2 of them ordered before that hit. So we did shuffle. Knowing how much the food prices impact our bottom line, the culinary team are constantly, right, changing up what's going to be on the menu, taking things off and putting things on differently, right? If tomatoes are, well, it can't be tomatoes because they put tomatoes in the ham and bean soup and I heard about it. So whenever there's something that's hard to come by or something that really skyrockets, right, they adjust and adapt the menu. That doesn't mean we're going to eat peanut butter and jelly every day, but it might mean that we take something that was supposed to be on and pull it off until the price can drop, or we find a different provider. So that's really us just constantly watching and looking and being nimble. Good question. Other things on your mind?
I would just like to thank the spiritual care team, the chaplains, for their patience and perseverance every Sunday morning, because there hasn't been a one that has not had some type of technical glitch. But they've still managed to get a message and a service put together, and their efforts appreciated.
Absolutely, I agree. And Steve, I'm looking at you because I heard this past Sunday we sang out of the hymn books. There was no screen, there was nothing. You were heard, you were clear, you spoke slowly, and the resident I spoke to sang your praises. So good job. Other things on your mind? Ooh, good meeting, everybody. Good meeting. If you're not comfortable speaking out in the group, please come and see us. We'll hang out for a little bit. Thank you for your time.